Hi! What's up, you guys? It's your girl Carly. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you are new here, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. I post videos every single Monday and Friday, and I would love to see you in the next one. In today's video, we are finally doing a calendar organization, how I kind of like have my life together video. If you guys follow me over on Instagram, you guys would know that I love Trello, Google Calendar. I have all of these organizational elements, and you guys really are interested in seeing them and how I use them and how I set them up and all this kind of stuff. So I'm very excited to dive into this video today so I can show you guys exactly what I do. So the first thing I want to talk about is Trello. So this guy right here is my current Trello setup. As you can see, I have many different types of calendars or Trello boards on here, and I do a ton of different things. So what I'm actually going to do is run you through each one that I use for me. Now I should say this works very well for me because I am a creative visual type of person. Some people are really good with like calendars and lists and all of that kind of stuff, but for me, I love workflows and I love to drag and drop and all of that kind of stuff. So this is why Trello is really good for me. Now I also should say, me and Trello have had a love-hate relationship for like 5 years. So if you've used it in the past and you haven't gotten like the really good hang of it, these will probably help you to create really good systems where you're not annoyed and you're not like, why is everybody praising Trello and it's just not working for me? So the first one I'm gonna go into here is my 2020 content calendar. This content calendar is something that I've only recently added to my business workflow on Trello, but it's somewhere that I wanted to start because this is where a lot of people I find kind of start for Trello. They want a place where they can have all of their content, they can see what's happening, all of this kind of stuff right on one singular page, and for it to not to be cluttered and just organized better. So on the top here, you can see I have Instagram, I have the podcast, YouTube, Instagram for my brand, I have Instagram for the podcast. I also have the blog here, and that's also just ideas for whatever it is, whether it's YouTube, podcast, whatever. As you can see, they're all separated out into their own lists. So everything that goes down vertically is a list, and versus everything that is inside of it is called a card. So on the left-hand side here, you can see this is my personal Instagram. So on here are all of these photos. You can find all these photos on Instagram, and all of these photos are just photos that I have posted. There is captions in every single one of them. But if you scroll down a little bit further here, you can see this is kind of where I keep ideas and content inspiration for Instagram. So at the beginning of every month, I will go through and I will add content to this Instagram column. So this actually works really well because then when I shoot with my friends, I can be like, this is the kind of vibe that I'm looking for. This is the outfit I'm gonna wear. Let's make it work. That's a little tip and trick from me because I find if I don't have a plan, I could literally shoot content for like hours and only come out with 3 or 4 pictures that I can post. So by doing this, I actually keep myself a little bit more efficient and effective. And I also can see kind of the vibe for the month. I can also highlight things that I need to do, all of this kind of stuff. So that is this little Instagram personal side. The next thing is the podcast. So the podcast is the same type of thing. This is literally just all of the episodes for all of the rest of 2020. And I like to have this in here because sometimes I like to cross-reference. So for example, with the podcast column and then the podcast Instagram column, I can, be like, okay, this episode is coming out, what can we post on the Instagram? And so I kind of have more of an understanding of what's going on everywhere because I do have individual content calendars for all of these different platforms, but the content calendar, this big one, is kind of the one where I can just see it all at once, which I really enjoy. Same thing goes for YouTube. This is literally just the YouTube content calendar for the rest of the year. You guys know that I'm trying to get back and a lot more consistent with YouTube, so please cut your girl some slack. She's trying. I got a lot of things going on, as you can see. So in here, I keep all of my thumbnails. This has the link to the video. Sometimes it has the description type of thing, but I keep all of this in here because what I also really like is that if I ever lose the download or I didn't save it properly in Photoshop or whatever, as soon as I download this this photo, I put it into my Trello board, so maybe I can retrieve it later if it gets lost or corrupted or anything like that. It's all in here. And then on the last two, this is the Instagram for Confidence Club and the Instagram for Hey Bitches. Literally the same type of vibe as my personal Instagram. That's the same thing that happens there. And then on the blog, it's just whatever blog posts are going out for the blog that month. I haven't done this for the rest of the year yet because I'm unsure when I'm exactly relaunching the blog, so this is kind of just like rough ideas, but eventually it will have a whole scroll down situation like everything else. Now, like I said before, the content calendar is something that people, I feel like, use Trello for a lot. And so it's something that if you're just starting, maybe this is a really good option for you, but this is kind of my end point of Trello. This is the last thing I update versus the first thing I update, because I actually, like I said, have individual Trello boards for every single one of my platforms, as well as workflows and all of that kind of stuff, which I will show you right now. So this Trello board right here, this is my podcast content calendar. This is broken out a lot different than what the content calendar looks like, because instead of it being by one platform, this whole calendar is month by month. So what I really like to do is have it all month by month, so I know how many episodes are going out, I know what is the theme of each episode, I know what day it goes out on, and it's not just like I have one column with a million things. I can kind of see it month by month. I know who I need to contact, I know what I need to record, and it's all here. So as you can see, these are October, November, December, January, all of that kind of stuff. It has all of the episodes that went out on these respective days. On the left-hand side here, the numbers, it is not the number of the episode, it is the day that it goes out on in the month. And so I do it like this because it also helps me to know what day is a Tuesday, what day is a Thursday, and then when I'm going through and I'm like making these, I can also be like, okay, well, there's 4 Tuesdays this month and there's 5 Thursdays this month. Like, I just put down the date, and maybe I don't exactly have an idea for it yet, but it's in there so that I know that I need to do an episode. After I kind of got comfortable with that, I started to finesse my Trello board a little bit with the podcast calendar. As you can see, in March, it was 1 year anniversary of the podcast. If you want to listen to it, it's called Hey Bitches. You can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing more than one episode a week. So instead of just doing a singular sex episode every single week, I started doing one sex, one lifestyle. So I had to figure out a way to kind of sort that out on this calendar so I wasn't accidentally doing 5 lifestyle episodes in a row and like 5 sex episodes in a row. And I literally just needed a way to organize it. So what I really like about Trello is they have these things called labels. So you can click into this little like editing pencil thing, and then it says edit labels on the side. So here there are tons of different colors of labels. You can even go into create new label, create a color for the label, create a name for it, and what I really like is instead of just making it a color, it'll show you the label title as well. There's sometimes where I reuse colors. As you actually can see, if I go back into labels here, you can see that the red label is a sex label, but it also is for 12 Days of Bitchmas, which is the Christmas series that we do on the podcast. Now, if it was just another red color, like it had no title, it would be really confusing, but I really like how it has the title and the color associated with the label. So as you can see here, we've got sex, we've got lifestyle, all this kind of stuff, and then this green one is sponsored. So this is whenever I work with a company and I have to make sure to, you know, record the little sponsored bit for the podcast. This helps me also to visually know that this is a sponsored episode and kind of keep me on my toes when I'm recording it to remind me that I have to do it. Next up, I have my YouTube content calendar. This is very same, but different in regards to the podcast. So we went from our content calendar, which was each individual platform, to our podcast content calendar, which was every single month. Now YouTube, I actually have broken out every single week by week. Now this might be a little bit annoying to some of you. However, week by week works really well for me because I was putting out content twice a week and I was like, you know what, it's just too many cards in one little list to be able to understand what the heck is going on there. So instead, I actually broke it out week by week, and it's been working really, really well. So here you can see I broke it out into things like my everyday makeup routine, a Calgary vlog, all of this kind of stuff. It's broken out week by week. So the 21st to the 27th, the 28th to the 4th, XYZ. I really like this too because the same way that I label the podcast where it's the day that it goes out on, I also do that on YouTube. So the 29th, I know it's a Monday, the 3rd, I know it's a Friday, and it helps me kind of get organized and understand when I need to film and edit the content before it comes out. For my YouTube content calendar, I really don't do much in terms of labels or sponsored things or anything like that. One of the ones that I have on here, as you can see, is Vlogmas. So Vlogmas happens every single year, and I will be participating in, 12 days of Christmas. So I have it on here for me to know that these videos are specifically Vlogmas videos. So when I get closer to December, I can be like, okay, cool. These videos have to be like holiday themed and Vlogmas themed and all this kind of stuff, just so I have a better visual about what is going out for YouTube. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about on how I stay organized and all of that kind of stuff, this is a workflow for me. So as you can see here, this is my blog workflow. On the left-hand side, I have all of these ideas for blogs, and they, right now, if they're in this column, they are just ideas. So here's where I kind of write down all of the content that I want to do for the month. I also leave the exact date in these cards because this is not really set out to be this month, this is the workflow, or this month, this is the workflow. It literally is an evergreen workflow type of template. So I make sure to put the date in so I know what time I have to write this by and get it done by and all of that kind of stuff. Now, what I like about Trello is the drag and drop function. So I can take this blog post and I can drop it here when I'm done the skeleton idea. So for example, I go through, I make notes, I blah, 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 blah. After I'm done that, I could go into the first draft, go into editing, etc., etc., etc. Once it's made it through all of these things in the pipeline, I can drop it into published and then also into promoted, and that's where it's done, and that's where it lives, and that's where it stays once it's done. So that is literally just what the blog workflow looks like. It's nothing too crazy. I use this kind of workflow template for a lot of things, including the podcast and YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. Last but not least, I actually have on here my brand deal funnels board. I love it because I was finding that I was getting really out of track with things that I received and all of this kind of stuff, and I had no idea if I had talked about it yet or not or anything like that, because at one point I was so overwhelmed with PR because I just wasn't doing things that I was like, oh my god, I need to get this on the calendar so that I can be organized and not be such a hot mess. So this is my brand deals funnel. As you can see, it goes through things like if the deal was accepted, who it's for, the little labels on here, they represent all of my different social medias. So you can see product only means it's not a paid collaboration, they're just doing gifting. There's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I also have stories on here, so if it's just a collaboration for just stories, I have that on here as well. As things make their way through the pipeline, it kind of depends on what it is. So Madewell right here, I actually have already received the products and I did stories on them. So what I'm gonna do is just drag and drop this into the stories column situation. Now when I drop this, I actually added this little celebration horn. So on Trello, when you do that, it actually gives you a little celebratory confetti situation. I like that because, it's small joys when it comes to working for yourself. Now moving on, this is where I kind of make sure that I'm on the same page with where the brand deal is at. So there are things like, is the creative shot? Is it edited? Has it been sent for approval? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm gonna move this CoverGirl one into approved because it has been approved. It just has to get a date and go out. Also this one here, this Nasty Gal one, I did post the content already. There was an invoice sent. So now we're just waiting to get paid. So this also really helps to remind me that once the creative is posted that I need to send an invoice and follow up. Now, once payment is received, I will drop it into the payment received situation. I will also leave it in payment received until the money has officially hit my bank account. And then after that, I will drop it into deal completed, which has another little horn with confetti, which makes me feel very good. That is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I post videos every single Monday and Friday, and I would absolutely love to have you in the next one. Bye!